Hey, what's going on, Beto?
Is it because I'm here?
I have no idea. I don't even know what that was. Alright, we're gonna leave that in as like a little pooper, okay. Hey, what's going on, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thanks so much for taking time in your day to hang out with me. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you can tell, but I do have a new mic, so hopefully my audio sounds a lot better. This is the first video that I filmed with it. I think there's still one more video with my old mic that I will be publishing at a later point. My videos have been kind of at a weird scheduling point right now, so things are a little strange, but in today's video I kind of just wanted to sit down just to chit chat about commander updates. And to be honest with you guys, I wasn't really assuming that I would be filming this video for kind of a while because I'm not really playing Magic right now. Paul and I will play just like 1v1 sort of thing, but obviously due to COVID, like I haven't seen any of my friends, we haven't played Magic, and I'm just not a huge fan of playing Magic online. It's not the same, and I feel like it's so complicated. I'm just not like really a huge fan, but basically I kind of wanted to go through some commander updates and kind of like keep you guys posted. I don't remember when the last EDH update I posted was. It was definitely a couple of months ago. And I kind of want to start with the first point because I did mention that I was kind of up in the air about Rune, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with that deck. And it's so funny because like that deck feels like it's like ancient history at this point, because it is, but it's like I've had this on my list for like a while to talk about. But basically I did take that deck apart, and pretty much the reason why I took that deck apart was because I really just, it was very repetitive. It felt like the deck played the same exact way every single time. And that was actually one reason that, if you guys remember, I had Yisan a while back, and it was mono green. And I found that whenever I played Yisan, I feel like I always got the same cards every single time. And I wasn't really doing that on purpose, to be honest. It was just every time it felt like I played the same exact game, and I don't like that personally. Which is why I like having a variety of EDH decks, right? I don't want to have like 5 decks that I constantly cycle through. I think I have right now like 10 or 11 commander decks, and I like having that variety sort of thing that just like, you know, is a huge aspect of the game for me that I really enjoy. And Rune wasn't really fitting that bill, and it was just a deck I never really reached for, and I decided to get rid of it. I actually sold it, which was really great. I sold it into 2 parts, and then I kept a couple of staple cards that I did just want to keep, which was awesome. So I'm very excited that I took that apart because I took that apart, I then had I had room to build something else, which is my next. I kind of want to save Riku for last, to be completely honest. I think we're gonna do that. Let's jump down to talking about Teysa, because Teysa's been kind of at this really, really weird point for a really long time where I don't really know what the deck wants to do. It feels like it's trying to do 20 things at the same time, and it's doing all of them pretty poorly. And I think what I realized with that deck and what I decided to do with it is I want to make this a token deck. And I do have a Leela, but these tokens are going to be a little bit different. This isn't necessarily like playing token buffs. The whole point of this is just to really have just like an army of 1/1s pretty much, and not really necessarily have as many buffs in the deck. So that's kind of the difference that it's going to be with Alila. Alila also has artifact and enchantment synergies, and it also has fairy tribal, a sub fairy tribal synergy I would say. And again, it's trying to buff those tokens to make it so that deck is more like I have 4 tokens, but they're all 3/3s, for example, where this deck is going to be like I have 21 ones, if that makes sense. And because that they're a little bit different in that regard, I think that will be okay for me, because I don't want to take Teysa apart, because to be honest, I love the Orzhov color combination, and a while back I had an Obsidian deck, and I don't think I was on YouTube at this point when I made that deck. I'm pretty sure. I don't really know. I don't think I ever talked about that deck, to be honest. Or if it was in like the beginning stages of when I started posting YouTube videos. So I really love the color combination, and I really did not want to take Teysa apart, but I realized I just needed to pick a direction that it was going in. So the whole point of the deck is going to be like, I have a creature, and then when it dies, I make a token. But because I have Teysa on board, I get double tokens. So just that's the whole idea behind it. And again, I feel like I was trying to run like, because again, those are 2 of my favorite colors. I feel like I was trying to run a lot of cards that didn't necessarily fit what I was trying to do, because again, I felt like I was trying to do multiple things and it just didn't really work. So, and even though the cards I was running were good, it was like, why isn't this deck working? It's like, because I'm trying to pull myself in too many different directions. And I think that's something that I've seen a lot of people do when they deck build, is they're trying to do too many things and it doesn't work. Even though you're running great cards, your deck isn't synergizing. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing with Teysa. I'm going to be reworking that, and I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be really cool. So Let's transition into Rain. I believe this is how you pronounce her, the Angel of Rebirth. And I think I first wanted to build her whenever I saw her as like the box topper, and I was really intrigued by it, and I was like, I really like to build this deck. I think it'd be really cool because it's Naya, which I love, the Naya color combination. I think it's really fun, and I also don't really have a lot of other things like that are in that similar color pattern, so I thought it would be really cool. And so I basically really want to build this deck, but I'm actually going to wait until things are more back to normal where I'm doing trades for stuff, because to be honest with you guys, I don't mind like spending money on like a new deck and like getting a bunch of foils for the deck, but to be honest with you guys, I really don't have a lot of pieces of this deck right now. I only have like 30 or so cards. That's a lie. We have to include lands in that as well, which that doesn't count. So I really have probably like about maybe like 60 or so cards, which means I need to buy 40 cards, and it just would kind of get, I feel like, a little bit like much. So I decided that I'm going to hold off on this deck until I can do some trading. We have like a ton of cards that we want to like trade in. So once game stores start opening up and, you know, COVID is less prevalent, I definitely want to take and do some trades with my friends and stuff, because we've also opened up some boxes since then, so we've got a ton of cards to like get rid of and whatnot that we can trade for. So I'm very excited about this deck. I think it's going to be really cool, really unique. Don't really know what's going on with it other than just running multicolored cards. Like, I think it's just going to be like a big stompy deck, and I think that's really fun, so I'm excited about that. Let's talk into the deck the thing that I'm really most excited about talking about in this video, which is Riku. And I had basically been talking about this, and you guys really know, if you like keep up with me, where I'm someone who, it's not like I just build a deck and I'll be like, oh guys, I made this deck yesterday, here's the deck tech. And then that's not the way that I work. I will talk about a deck that I'm building for actual months, and that's the way that I operate, because I feel the need to perfect a deck before I post my deck tech on YouTube, which is why you will not see the Riku deck tech for a long while. And the reason I say that as well is because the deck techs are some of the most popular videos on my channel, and their deck, like, I get constantly requests, like if I don't do an updated deck tech for one of my decks, and I'm talking like in a couple of months, people like ask me to see a new deck tech. Like, it's definitely one of the most popular it's the most popular videos on my channel. And I love filming deck techs. They're super fun for me. I love talking about my process behind those. You won't see a Riku deck tech just because I've only played it against Paul, and that's just not a fair assessment of how the deck is working. But basically, to kind of give you the rundown of this deck is really silly. It's really fun. It's basically a bunch of shapeshifters and then just a bunch of counter magic and just kind of like dumb things. Like, I did like the dumbest thing that I've probably ever done in my Magic career. History is a better word here. Where basically I was playing against Paul, and I had Ral, our friend Ral Zarek, on the board, and then I cast Repeated Reverberation, I think it is. It's the red card for 4 mana, and so basically I doubled it, or I tripled it from Ral, and I got 10 extra turns, and it was pretty stupid. So it does really jank things like that. The deck is really not trying to take itself too seriously. Like, I can't really decide if I want this deck to be really powerful, or I just want this deck to be just like a ball of jank, and it definitely is a ball of jank, but it also can be really good. Like, it does dumb things like that, and I kind of like that, so it's just kind of like fun. I've really been trying to think through like power levels. Once I build a new deck, I always try to think about where this deck fits in terms of power levels. Like, I don't just want to build like 4 decks in a row where they're all at like a power level of 4. Do you know what I mean? Like, I definitely want to have a variety in my decks, and I think that's important. And to be honest with you, I originally was thinking of Riku, and I really wanted to make this deck really try hard and really powerful, because I feel like I don't have a lot of really I feel like I didn't, if you want to like hear more about this analysis, I did a video on my EDH roster where I basically talked about each of my decks, and I talked about how I felt that each of them ranked up. And I feel like my top 3 like heavy hitters, I would say, is Avacyn, Tasigur, and Omnath. Those are like my top 3 most powerful decks. And I would say I really thought, I was like, I want to build something else that's really powerful, and that's what I really wanted to make Riku. And then after playing it, I'm like, this deck is just kind of is silly and kind of is just dumb, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I don't really know where this deck is falling, to be honest. I don't really know what I want it to be, but that's okay for right now. I also feel like it's not fair to give an assessment of the way that the deck is performing because I played it 1v1 against Paul, and the whole point of the deck is you make shapeshifters of other people's creatures. So if I'm only playing against one person, I definitely don't have as good of a pool of creatures as when I do when I'm playing against 3 other people. So I'm definitely holding off and like gonna wait on that, but the deck is just, guys, it's so fun. Like, it's just a fun deck, and I feel like it's just not trying to take itself too seriously, and I just really love that, and I just don't have anything like that. And I feel like that's why with like Reen making that multicolored cards, I don't really have anything like that that really specializes in that, which is why it's really unique. And then to be honest with y'all, after I build Reen, I don't really have any projects down the line that I'm really thinking of. I might have mentioned at some point building like a royalty themed deck around Queen Marchesa, and it was super funny because our friend Dan was like wanted to get myself and Paul like altars of her and Kenrith, of like altars of us for our wedding, which I thought was a really cool idea. And I was like, well, it's funny you say that because I was thinking about building a royalty themed deck, but I didn't really know if that was serious. But ever hearing him say that, I was like, I just think I kind of need to build that. Like, I can't just have that like altered Marchesa sitting in our box. Like, I have to use it, you know? I guess I could put it in ladies, to be honest, and I mean, it would totally fit. I might have had a Marchesa in ladies at one point. I think I did, but I don't know. It didn't make the official cut. They're this cut because the deck's been revamped, like literally, like that deck has been altered like I want to say like 10 times, and like I wish I was kidding, but like it's just not. And I feel like that's another deck too. Like ladies is definitely to me very it's a very fun deck. Like, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just like, I'm just gonna play a bunch of like really cool cards, and like that's what it's trying to do. And I think it's cool to have that balance of things. Like, I like having those try-hard games. I like having those powerful games. I love doing powerful things with Tasigur. Like, it's super fun. I love playing a bunch of angels, and with Omnath, I like playing a bunch of 5/5s and just a bunch of lands and just overwhelming my opponent that way. But for me, it's all about balance. I don't want to stay in the try-hard all the time, but I don't want to stay in the low range all the time. I like to have a variety of my decks, and I think that's like really important for me as an EDH player to now at this point in my EDH history. I have a lot of decks that do different things. I'm now trying to find things that really are different from what I already have, and that's definitely kind of becoming a little bit more of a challenge, but it's definitely been a really fun challenge, to be honest, to try to find things and think outside of the box. So y'all, I really hope you guys enjoyed hearing Commander updates. I really like these videos because they're very, like, just a free-flowing conversation, and, you know, I just feel like I never try to take myself too seriously when I, like, film videos. I'm never, like, sitting up, like, prim and proper, like, we're here to talk about Magic. Like, that's just not my style, and that's not who I am. So, I just like having these more casual, like, chit-chat type things. So, I'd really like to know what decks you guys are building, and if you guys have played Commander, whether in person or virtual. I'd really like to know if there's any projects that you guys are thinking on the upcoming, because it's always really interesting to me. I'm definitely someone who really takes a lot of time and, like, craft into building a deck, where some people build them a lot more quickly. So, I just really like to know what your process is and all that kind of stuff. So, like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys in my next one.